Hi everyone, Messy Coder back again with part 2 of my live Twitch interview with Adam Goodrich. Adam is the creator of Gena, Gaia, CTS, Pegasus, Origami, and well, the list goes on of the crazy things that Adam's working on. This video was taken on my live Twitch stream, all the w's.twitch.tv/themessycoder, where you can come and see me every weekend playing about, making games, talking to game developers, and sometimes we give away some juicy free assets and toys to play with. So sit back, enjoy part 2 of my interview with Adam, and then later we'll be sitting with Adam and going through Gaia and Gena and building a world together, teaching us how we can make these beautiful terrains for ourselves. Do you manage to sleep, to spend any time with your family between working, collaborating with Unity? How much actual free time are you able to get to yourself?
I don't have much free time. You know, I'll give you, I'll announce a new product. So I've been working really hard to get things to the next level. And one of the things I've been working on is a new procedural generation system. It's actually, I've been doing it, well, I've taken something that I'd previously designed and prototyped, and I need it for a project that I'm doing, a contract that I'm doing. So I've gone, okay, it's time to bring this thing and make it work. And it's a system called Origami. And Origami has the ability to spawn everything from a fence to making a house out of modular parts to building an entire city or dungeon. So that's something that, you know, I've made massive progress on it, and I'll probably launch within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Another product that I also built for another project has the ability to create, actually to import Megascans assets and set them up for use in Unity. So it's a generic, I haven't got a name for it yet. At the moment it's called Importer. But what it does is it's basically a template-driven system that sets up prefabs and shaders. So you give it a template, and it'll go, okay, I need to merge this channel of this texture with that channel of that texture to create a new texture. I need to set up a material. I need to import these models, and I need to create this preloaded prefab. So it's something that will. So the 2 new products, and if you've watched Book of the Dead, you know, that's incredible, and that's all Megascans. Well, I've got a tool that actually automates all that because I needed it for a project. So there are 2 new things coming as well in the next month, I would say.
It's thanks to you that I got addicted to Megascans, so I blame you for that.
Yeah, well,
that video that you did with the what did you call it, the Billabong?
Oh yeah, yep. So
that was like the awakening into how beautiful CTS and Megascans look together.
Yeah, look, there's more stuff that I won't announce yet, but and it's all part of this bigger picture of environmental and world and game generation, which is coming over the next 6 months or so. But yeah, so I work really hard. This project that I'm working on, this contract that I'm working on, where I needed to have, this very intelligent procedural spawning system, which is what Origami is. I've essentially been working, I've been getting up and starting at 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, and I've been working till 6, 7, 8 at night. So really long days, been doing it 7 days a week. But at the same time, I'm really driven because I want this, I want to get Gaia 2 out there, because Gaia 2 will leverage all of this stuff. And, when you're just one person, or largely one person, you just have to make it happen.
You mentioned before about the infinite worlds, and obviously Bart, Nature Manufacture, they've got World Streamer. And actually, the funny thing is that I didn't even realize that Twain Stitcher and World Streamer were his. I'd purchased so many different assets from his library without even realizing that it was the same asset seller, because they were so different. I mean, who would have thought that the guy who makes a graveyard art asset also made World Streamer? Bizarre. As you said, he's a genius. So having this as a person that you collaborate with, I'm assuming that it's going to be something that you're taking advantage of with Gaia 2 and your Infinite Worlds.
Yeah, look, I still need to work out how I'm going to do that because I'm not there yet. So whether I create because what I need to do here is really different to anything else that's out there. And, you know, when I sort of share why and how and so on, then it'll all make sense. But, you know, I need to deliver this capability, and whether I integrate Bart's system or create my own system specific to solving the specific problem I have, I still need to work that out.
That's a good thing about having Bart as a mate, that you've got someone to bounce ideas and questions off, regardless if you're going to build something yourself or use his one.
Yeah, and look, the guy is incredibly knowledgeable. It's always an absolute pleasure working with him, and you know I think we have a pretty good relationship. We're fairly frank with each other at times. He's very
driven as well, much like yourself.
Yeah, and you know we both take feedback from each other. So some of the stuff that's in CTS, I've gone, Bart, that looks like shit. We can't have that. And you know, he's gone. So actually, the geo feature in CTS, the first implementation of that wasn't very good, and I was really blunt with Bart, and he took it on the chin, and he went back, and I went to bed, and the next morning he says, "How's this?" And I went, "Holy man, that's incredible!" So you know, yeah, it's great having access to the depth of knowledge that Bart has, and as a shader guy, he's just going from strength to strength.
You gave us a copy of Gena. I'm just trying to remember who won a copy of Gena on last week's giveaway. Let's see if we've got them in chat. Gildar won. Is Gildar in chat? Let me see if we can give a shout out. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. No, he's not here at the moment, I don't think. Is he? Yes, he is. There he is. Congratulations, Gildar. You're a winner of Gena. Have you had a chance to play with it yet, mate? See, here he is. Me, yes, I did. I'm talking about.
Actually, it's interesting. I've way undersold how powerful and how useful Gena is, and I actually have. You know, I talk with pros all the time, and they absolutely love it. And I have other pro game developers that say it's their favourite tool. You know, they are. Oops. Just smashed my computer. Are you still there?
I used to be something.
Oh no. Where have you gone? Oh, you're back there. Yeah, they say, oh, you know, Gaia, you know, it's just one tool, but they love Gena, and I need to actually do a lot more to show people how powerful it is.
Well, should we have just a quick play about? I've put in Gaia and Gena into a clean project, and we were chatting just the other day, and you gave me a virtual slap when I was like saying, well, can Gena handle lining meshes up against the terrain so I can create cliffs and mountains? Which is exactly the conversation we had just at the start of this interview, where you were talking about how if you look at games where they've got mountains, they've got, you know, the terrain, but it's actually the mesh that makes up the detail. And you just looked at me and were like, well, that was the first tutorial that I uploaded of Gena. How did you miss that? And it was like, oh yeah, well, I watched it like over a year ago. Go Game Studios, thanks for the follow, buddy. And it's one of those things that you don't really think about all of the stuff that you can do with Gena unless you spend the time to sit there and unravel all of the layers of this onion.
Yeah, and look, you know, it's actually evolved into quite a complex product as well. I try and make it simple, but when people go, oh, can it do this? And I can do this, and it can generally. In fact, Gena can actually, you can save everything you do in Gena as a prefab, and then you can instantiate that prefab at runtime and do runtime spawning with it as well. So there's all these things that aren't necessarily so obvious that it can do. In fact, one of the things you can do is you can nest Gena spawners within Gena spawners. So, you know, you could have the top level spawner which does a house, then the next one that lays out the trees, and then the one underneath that, the rocks, and then, you know, 3 or 4 grasses underneath that. And Gena has the ability, you press the button once and it'll lay down the whole thing for you.
The first thing I did when I put Gaia in, I went over to the third party and I went to my speed tree and I set all of these up so that we can like generate, refresh and generate. So that's the first thing we need to do, isn't it, Adam? Whenever we stick Gaia in, because of that Unity shenanigans that does with speed tree for some reason.
Yeah, that's a really odd thing. It's really annoying. It's like, dudes, why don't you just do this automatically when you import a speed tree into Unity? Some of the things that Unity, some of the decisions that Unity makes, I do wonder about them.
They do things to keep us on our toes. Yeah. So just to show how quick and easy it is to get started. So shall I stick in shall I import the environment assets from?
Yeah.
Do we not do to? Shall yeah? Can't stick it in.
Yeah, well, if you're gonna do a demo, you might as well.
Have you talking about how Gena can spawn in real time, runtime? It sounds like it'd be perfect with like Tony Lee's quest system or DevDog's quest system to be able to use the power of the one-time spawning with Gena. Is it something that is already integrated, or is it something that might be on the horizon or easy to do ourselves?
It should be easy enough to do yourself. Some people actually use Gena to do runtime monster spawning and that sort of stuff. Gena can put anything into your scene. If you've got a prefab, then Gena can spawn it for you. So chances are you could build like a little script that integrated with the quest system, or I'm not sure how it works. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it would be difficult to do.
Right. First, I'll go over here to Window, Gaia, and let's show Gaia Manage. Do I need to do anything else first? It's been a while since I played about, so do forgive me.
You need to have your first-person player stuff in there as well, because it will set that up for you.
So let's go and import package characters.
Yeah. And then you also would import a copy of the Unity post effects, the version 1 ones that are on the asset store.
Okay.
Because we can then demonstrate how Gaia will automate setting up your lighting and your post effects for you. One of the things, while you're doing that, I'll explain what's happening on the manager here. So you can see you've got this manager, which is where people do most of their, it's what drives the workflow. So the standard workflow, it says, the idea was, and I came to this when talking to a fellow game teacher. He was saying, people when they start games, they find it really hard to get into 3D games because it's hard to create them. So I just went, well, yeah, it should be as easy as 1, 2, 3, and that's why the menu there is really 1, 2, 3. First, create your terrain and show your stamper, and I look at terrain as if it's like a big cookie dough. So with cookie dough, you take the dough and you stamp things into it. So that's what you do with your terrain and your stamper. Then you place stuff into that environment. That's what spawning is all about. And then finally, you put your player, wind, water, and screenshotter in there. So there's some really cool little features of Gaia which people probably aren't aware of. So even though it's a terrain system, it comes with a whole bunch of sample content for some amazing publishers like 3D Forge, TurboScale Per, SpeedTree, and allows you to set up your environments. Then it's the little things, I think, that make the difference. So setting up your player, your wind and your water and a screenshotting system, these are just little easy things to make it easy to get started. Because I think making games, you should be freed from all the drudge and spend your time actually making the game, not so much the environments.
Sorry, I just found out that looking at my OBS, the little window, I mean, like, you see my cursor floating about on Twitch, but I'm actually moving a window about and nobody can see it. So let me try and see if I can get use a different screen. Bear with me 1 second while I try.
Oh, right, yeah. I'm looking at this thinking, yeah, it's all
It's all looking lovely.
perfect. But I'm looking at your Skype screen, not your Twitch screen.
So everyone's now probably freaking out because the screen's gone black. Hang on. Let's see if. So while I do this, I'll let you entertain everyone.
Okay, so somebody's asking, can Gaia Manager be used with Map Magic? No, they're essentially completely separate systems. CTS can be used with Map Magic. In fact, CTS doesn't care how you create terrain. CTS will just use it. Just looking back through other questions. Yeah, Gena does your houses and your trees. In Gaia and Gena, I have this concept of a POI, or point of interest. And what you can do is you get a plane and you put your buildings and your props and everything around it. So you create your little interesting cemetery, or maybe a city block, or a little town, or a small farm or whatever. Then you drag that thing in one big clump, and you drag it into either Gaia or into Gena. And what it does is it works out what the respective, looks like you've got your screens right now, Anthony. It works out where everything is in respect to everything else. And then what you can do is just press a button and Gaia and Gena will place it properly for you. So it saves a lot of time. You do the interesting creative work and it will then automate placing it into your scene. The new system, Origami, will actually automate all of the POI stuff for you. So it'll actually, in Gaia and Gena, you need to create it, whereas as in manually. But with Origami, all of that stuff, you just press the button and go, bloop, oh yeah, I like that one, bloop, oh, I like that one.
I love it so funny. Someone's like, dude, can't you just dock it? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's the point. Could have just gone plip and stuck it there and not messed about the whole time.
Gena will work just fine with anything Kiwi Hawk. Gena's just, it's a spawning system, that's all it is. So if you create an environment in World Creator, Gena will happily spawn on it. If you want to do stuff at runtime, you'd need to set it up, but you'll put a game object in your scene, which will be a Gena spawner. I've got a video tutorial where I dynamically spawn stuff at runtime.
We were just talking about World Creator the other day when we had Stefan in chat, and he was telling us about how you and he speak a lot together. I remember you were the one who actually introduced me to World Creator ages ago and cited it to be like, what fantastic stuff they were doing. We're taking the mickey a little bit because the way you're saying it is if like you guys are going to go off on little picnics and things together. But it is nice to see that because you're making these different systems, even though you've got Gaia, your other assets that you're making work well with things like World Creator, and it does lead to have a good relationship with people like World Creator.
Yeah, look, I think what Stefan is doing with World Creator is awesome. And, I really enjoy people who are professional and helpful. The thing is with the asset store is there's room for all of us, in my opinion. And anybody who loves a space is going to buy all the tools anyway. So, people that have bought Gaia would also have Terrain Composer quite often, would have World Creator and, some of the other systems as well. Because, it's as much as anything else, it's your hobby, or even if it's your profession, you want all the tools. You want to try them out and you see which ones are the ones that make sense for the way you like to work. So it's great talking with Stefan. We've actually talked about some potential future products, projects where we might collaborate, and some of the new stuff that I'm working on, when I get it to the right place, I may well reach out to them and say, hey, I'm doing this, do you want to get involved? And one of the reasons why I do that with people like Stefan is they're actually stand-up people. They're honourable. So I have no problem working with people like that. It's been really awesome collaborating with Bart too and the Nature Manufacture team. So when you get great people and you work with them, the end result is better for everybody.
We've got Tech Trade saying, do people get confused as to which asset to buy with the similar names? Do you plan to bundle them all into one? Good question. With the Gaia and Gena, I mean, that is one of the things, like, would you bundle them together to make it cheaper to people who want to get both?
I don't see why not. I would love to, we also talk to the asset store team reasonably often, and we have these discussions about the cool stuff we'd like to do if the asset store could support it. And Unity are busy working on asset store too, as people know. And part of the reason why they're developing this new asset store system is so that they've got the ability to then do smarter things that you would consider pretty normal with any other store system, like bundling stuff together and doing better prices. I have personally no problem with doing that. I'd love to do it. I've got all these other ideas that the asset store should do as well. Like, it would be great if I could give a special discount code just for this Twitch session. Hey, you're on this Twitch session, use this code, it's valid for the next hour, and it'll give you a 20% discount or a 50% discount. If the asset store could do that, Unity would make more money, I'd make more money, and people would get a better deal. So there's all these cool things I'd love to be able to do. We're sort of limited by Unity quite often.
Which is odd, because Unity are very driven by their profits. I mean, you'd assume that they would actually optimize their revenue stream on the asset store a lot better than they have. Because at the end of the day, Unity is geared towards all of these modularization of assets, this plug and play, allowing people to basically do all of the work that Unreal do, that Epic do for the Unreal Engine, that all you guys are doing for Unity at the end of the day. And they're making money off that, and they're making good money. But that feature you just mentioned about having, like, in this Twitch chat now, a coupon to get 50% off for limited time only, that'd be fantastic. It's just confusing why they don't. There's a lot of things that they do just beggars the mind.
Well, that whole concept of a discount code, time or volume limited, I reckon that would be really easy for them to do, because they only have to touch one part of their checkout process, and all it is if you get this code, apply this discount, and just check these dates or something. But yeah, I know it's because I do talk to them, and there's been a lot of interesting discussion in the publisher forums recently. There are a bunch of people there that work their asses off to try and do the best for us as publishers, and they have to live within an environment where you've got all sorts of time zones, all sorts of teams collaborating around the world, and all sorts of different business influences on how the store actually runs. Everything from how does it integrate with the engine to what are the tax laws across the world, to all sorts of things. So much as we, I do sort of get a sense of their angst at times, because you've got all these different priorities and they have to just somehow do the best they can. The other interesting thing about Unity as a company, and having built a company that's grown rapidly, when you go through rapid growth, it's actually really hard to come up with all these mature processes which bigger established companies might have. But Unity, because it's growing rapidly, it's still finding its feet. I think what we're experiencing is still a bunch of teething issues.
We've got Aquarius Max in the chat, another asset store publisher, doing some fantastic, beautiful artwork we checked out last week. And he's actually stayed with us chatting for about 7 hours in chat last week. I think he's a bit nuts, but an awesome and funny, very funny guy. I think you obviously work with 3D Forge a lot with spawning his artwork in with the test scenes that we've seen before on Gaia, and you've got I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but when you do get to the Gaia manager, you've got here it is. Where's the third party extensions? Here we go. Oh, and I've just gone. Takes me to a browser.
That's actually the right thing, because it'll show you what's actually integrated.
And let me go to the. Hang on, can everyone see? There we go. Now you can see. So this is what you've currently got integrated.
It's still not showing up in the Twitch stream. Maybe we're just seeing it a bit earlier.
There's a bit of delay. It takes about 20 minutes for the stream to catch up.
Yeah, well, I welcome. I love working with other publishers and welcome anybody who Aquarius, if you want to hook up and have a chat. Absolutely. The more we can make it easier for other people to use our tools and our assets, the better. So the reason I've done all of these extensions is for precisely that reason. And the other thing is, if it's just an extension, then I've vetted it, so it's quality. Some people, you get a whole range of different publishers, and where I want to be known, where I would personally like to be known as delivering quality products that are at a good price. So anything that's here means I've actually worked with the publisher to integrate that product into Gaia.
I do love that little Gaia logo that you see on stuff in the asset store. That's a nice little touch. So whenever you go to someone else's kit, so it's compatible with Gaia, and they've got the little logo, and it just feels like you were saying that kind of like official stamp of approval. Talking about stamps.
Yes.
Good pun there.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for part 2 of the interview with Adam Goodrich. Well, I've chopped this video up into a few more pieces, so the next video we'll be playing with Gaia and Gena and creating a world of our very own. So guys, if you do like these videos, click on that big, juicy, red subscribe button down below. Tell all your friends, your neighbours, random people on the street. The Messy Coder is on Twitch, he's on YouTube, he's on Twitter, he's on Facebook, he's anywhere that you can find somebody spamming some content. And if you do like it, click it. Till next time. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.